Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. Today I am going to show you how to make a super quick, easy keto blackberry bread. And if you're not a big blackberry fan, you can use any berry or mix of berries that you want. And if you want a printable version of this recipe, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos, at least every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. And if you are a music lover, make sure you check out the link in the description to my other YouTube channel, Inspirational Songs with Janet. I, of course, have posted another song there, so make sure you check that out and click the subscribe button to that channel also. And while you do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line an 8x4-inch loaf pan with parchment paper and allow the paper to hang over the sides just a little bit so you can easily remove the bread once it's done baking. My loaf pan's probably more on the 7.5 by 3.5 size, but 8x4 will work just fine. In a medium mixing bowl, combine 84 grams or around 3/4 cup of coconut flour, 28 grams or around 1/4 cup of oat fiber or bamboo fiber. If you don't want to use fiber, you can just use some more coconut flour. Your texture will be just a little bit different, but it will still work in this recipe. Add 67 grams or around 1/3 cup of the granulated sweetener of your choice. I'm using granulated monk fruit sweetener. You can adjust this more or less depending on how sweet you want your bread. Add 15 grams or around 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. The ground cinnamon is optional. I like a little bit of a spice taste in my sweetbreads. So you can adjust the cinnamon according to your personal taste, or you can change to any spice that you want, or leave it out completely. Sift the dry ingredients together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps, then set the bowl aside for a minute. In a large mixer bowl, beat a 1/2 cup of room temperature softened butter on medium speed for 1 minute or until it's smooth. Scrape down the sides of the mixer bowl and push the smooth butter to the center of the bowl. Add 3 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they're room temperature so they beat in smoothly. Turn your mixer on medium-low. Allow the eggs to beat together for a few seconds. Then keep your mixer on medium-low and add 1/4 cup of butter that's been melted and cooled. Make sure it is cooled. You don't want to add hot butter. Add a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You can adjust this more or less depending on how much of a vanilla hint you want in your bread. Beat the wet ingredients all together for about 30 seconds or until it's fully combined. Reduce the speed of your mixer to low, then gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. You just want to do this a little bit at a time. Add a little bit of the dry ingredients and allow it to beat into the wet ingredients, and then just keep adding a little bit more. Allow it to beat in after each addition. If you need to, you can stop and scrape down the sides of your mixer bowl. You want to make sure that all the ingredients get fully incorporated together. If you don't have a standing mixer, you can use a hand mixer or a wooden spoon. This stirs together very easily. Once all the dry ingredients have been added and combined, then increase the speed of your mixer to medium and beat on medium speed for about 30 seconds or so, or until a very thick batter forms. It's more the texture of a dough than a batter. Scrape down the sides of the mixer bowl and push the batter/dough into the center of your bowl. Gradually fold in 150 grams or around 1 cup of blackberries or the berries of your choice. I ran out of blackberries, so I'm using a mix of blackberry, blueberries, and raspberries. You can have these fresh or frozen. If you do use frozen, you don't have to thaw these before you add them to your batter/dough. Also, if you are using frozen berries, as you're folding them into the dough, they might bleed and streak a little bit into your batter. That's not a big deal to me, but just keep that as a heads up if you're one of those who does not want streaked batter. Spoon the batter into your prepared loaf pan. Then use your hands or the back of a measuring cup and evenly press the dough throughout the pan. Be careful not to press too hard. You don't want to smash your berries. Once my batter slash dough is all pressed out even in my pan, I like to take a butter knife and just kind of go around the edges and pull the edges a little bit away from the sides of the pan. This just helps circulate the air better and makes sure that the inside of the loaf gets nice and done so you don't have a damp middle in your bread. Place the pan into your preheated oven. Bake at 350 degrees for 35 to 45 minutes or until the bread is browned and the tester comes out clean. If you're using frozen berries, this might take a few minutes longer to cook, so just keep an eye on it. You're wanting the bread to be browned on the outside, and when you stick a toothpick or a tester in the middle of it, it should come out completely clean. Once the bread is done baking, remove the bread from the oven and allow it to cool in the pan for about 1 hour so it can firm up really well. After at least an hour, grasp the overhanging parchment paper and carefully lift the bread out of the pan, then transfer it to a wire rack and allow the bread to cool completely before slicing it. When you're ready to eat the bread, slice your desired size slices. You can serve this warm or at room temperature. You can serve this plain or with butter or the topping of your choice. Alrighty, we are back with my yummy looking berry bread. Look at that, yummy. Smells good. Nice and soft on the inside. I've got an end piece right here, so the end of it is that nice little tiny crust on it that end pieces have. I figure if the end piece tastes good, then the rest of it's going to taste good because the end piece is usually the driest parts of the bread. So this looks good. It feels good. It's nice and soft in the middle without having that funky wet feel to it. So I just have this plain at room temperature, but as I've already said, you can warm it and put toppings on it, butter, whatever. But I just want to see how it tastes without anything on it. So let's see what this tastes like. That's yummy. Very good. Yes, that is very good. It has a very nice texture. I've made other zucchini breads and blueberry breads with all coconut flour, and they're really good. But the mix here of the coconut flour and the oat fiber really helps lighten the bread, so it's not quite as dense, because as you all know who are used to baking with coconut flour baked goods always have a little bit of a denseness to them. But having this with partial coconut flour and partial oat fiber, it really does help lighten it up a little bit. It also helps with flavor. If you're oversensitive to coconut flour taste, the oat fiber helps bring that down. So it is very tasty. It is slightly crumbly, but I think that's because my cooking time was a little wonky. Our power decided to go out when there was just a few minutes left of my cooking time. And those last few minutes are like some of the most crucial minutes so you get the right texture. And so once the power went out, I had to leave the bread in the oven and kind of estimate how long it was going to take as the temperature was going lower and lower in the oven. So I think I did cook it just a tad bit more than what it should be, and I think that's why it's just a little bit crumbly. It's not over crumbling, as you can see. It's keeping its shape together. It's not like crumbling in my fingers, so it's not overly crumbly, but I think I did leave it in there just a tad bit longer. But if my power would have stayed on, probably wouldn't have had that problem. But anyway, it still all turned out. It's very tasty. It has a nice texture, nice taste. Very good. Thumbs up. Yes, this is going to go great with my morning coffee or just any time I want a little snack. Very good. Yes. Tasty. You can eat this immediately. If you do have any leftovers, allow it to cool to room temperature. You can store this in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 3 days, or in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to 1 week, or in a freezer-safe airtight container in your freezer for up to 1 month. If you do decide to freeze this, make sure you slice it in your desired size slices before you freeze it, and put some parchment paper in between each one of the slices before you put it in an airtight freezer-safe container. That way you can just take out however many slices you want and let it thaw on your countertop for a couple minutes when you're wanting to eat it. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more recipes like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.